And good morning, everybody. Welcome, Hot Takes Goodman and Haertl. Bruce, I'd ask how you're doing this morning. Don't take this as a death, but I'm sorry for your loss, and that is a double entendre.
Well, yeah, I'm nowhere near as bad as counting it as a death in the family, though.
Right.
I'm not to that point. You know, I'm pretty pragmatic, even about the teams that I have great passion for. If you don't do the things necessary to win, chances are you are going to lose. There you go. There's my pearl of wisdom for the day. They just weren't good enough defensively and obviously didn't get enough competitive at-bats last night. And I tip my hat to the young kid, Skrletti, however you pronounce his name. He was absolutely nails for 8 innings, and he deserved the win. So, hate the Yankees. I'm pulling for the Blue Jays, but they deserve to win the series.
I do not know who is more upset this morning, Boston fans because the Red Sox lost, or Denver fans after seeing this picture posted yesterday before the Rams game against the 49ers. Bruce, those are your Colorado Avalanche.
Oh, okay.
You understand the connection to the Cronkies. I think what the Cronkies were doing was well-intentioned, but mildly tone-deaf. What do you think of this?
Well, yeah, my eyes immediately drawn to 29, kneeling 3 from the left in the front row, Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah.
That irritates me. It irritates me. I mean, this is fair. This should be fairly innocuous. I mean, I get it, but I mean, there's Logan O'Connor and Cale Makar and
it's the whole team. It's a team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't dig it. I just don't like it. No.
Can you understand why Denver sports fans would be a bit bent out of shape?
Absolutely.
Listen, yes. I am not suggesting if the Cronkies owned the Chiefs, that would have happened. But I'm guessing the Cronkies are thinking, we own both teams. We're trying to do a nice thing for our players, fly them all out to Los Angeles, watch a football game. We'll, put the players in, the pretty little costumes, and they'll take a team picture, right? But it's not a good look. I think it was well-intentioned.
Yeah.
But I don't think they thought it through on how it would look back in Denver.
Probably not. Definitely not. Let's go one step further. That it was, just a PR blunder.
Yes. Anyway, want to tell you about Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos up in Blackhawk. They always have great promotions. Right now, they're giving away a Ford Maverick Tremor truck or $25,000 in cash the weekend of October 24th. Daily cash drawings are every 45 minutes between 10 a.m. and midnight. Players can earn daily entries with every locked-up jackpot. I've done that more than a few times. Or by redeeming players' points on their players' cards. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, a family-owned casino that treats you like family. Time now for the lead.
The lead is presented by Sasquatch Casino, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Talked about Adam Troutman calling Sunday's game against Philly a measuring stick type of game. Eagles are 3.5-point favorites. We do not spend a lot of time talking about gambling on this podcast, but I think this is an interesting little nugget. Let's dig a little bit deeper on 3.5 points. Back in the day, you would automatically hand 3 points to the home team. It's not as cut and dry anymore. Now it's essentially 1.5 to 2 points. That's how Vegas figures it today, post-COVID. With that, let's just say they are favoring the Eagles by 2 points because they're at home. The Eagles are the defending champs. They are undefeated. They are at home. And are they really, the Eagles, only 1.5 points better than the Broncos if we want to do the math and do some subtraction?
Well, I know how you and I get sometimes when we start talking about the one dimensions of statistics. But if you put the metrics on the table right now, don't even worry about what the Broncos are doing and where they are. Just look at where the Eagles are, even compared to where they were a year ago. And you don't have to go very far. Win rate against pressure from the quarterback. Last year, Hurts was one of the best guys under pressure in the NFL. This year, he's near the bottom of the stack. Saquon Barkley is only averaging 3.1 yards per carry. It goes on and on. You can find the metrics on the linear one-dimensional line of statistics to support that. But here's my deal, and I'm guessing it's yours too. They're the Philadelphia Eagles at home on a short week, getting ready to go to London. And they, by the way, are 4-0. With all of that being true, they're still 4-0
in one-score games.
In one-score games, and they've played 3 basically Super Bowl contenders, right? Mm-hmm. Chiefs, Rams.
No. It's the Avalanche Rams now.
Get
it right.
The Avrams. So there we go. So the Rams, Avs. The Chiefs and the Buccaneers are all considered to be Super Bowl contending teams, and I don't think that would make any of us blush. So I hesitate. I go into this very, very cautiously, thinking that Philadelphia somehow isn't a worthy defending champion at this point.
You know what? I like the way that we have worked together for a new nickname. What did I say? The Avs Rams, and then you upped the ante. What did you say?
I don't know, Avrams or something. I have no idea. Whatever it was.
As a team, we're going to start it together and finish it together. They're the Colorado Ravalanche.
That's even better. I like that a lot. Oh God, yeah. Can we just? You didn't have to put Broncos uniforms on them, but could you just let them be Avalanche guys?
Right.
Okay. Well, that's all right.
And anyway, well, no, I think my point in asking that question is, are the Eagles only 1.5 points better than the Broncos, according to what Vegas put out? And by the way, I think one of the most stunning stats of the start of their season, in their last 2 games, they have scored 64 points.
Mm-hmm.
And have averaged 244 yards per game.
Yeah. They've scored on blocked kicks. They've scored. I mean, they're very good in the red zone. They finish drives with points. They have longer drives, fewer possessions. But, yeah, you look at you can find a really good model to make an argument for why the Broncos should be in this football game. I look beyond that and say, it's the Eagles. They're unbeaten. They've lost 1 game at home in the last calendar year. They've won 12 or 13 straight games at home at the Link. This is going to be a difficult week. This would be a difficult week for the Broncos if they were coming off a bye week, let alone a short week where they're only going to have 2 days of practice. They practiced yesterday. They're going to practice today. They will leave today after practice, and we'll have a walkthrough tomorrow. They are going for rest over practice to get their bodies right. So we'll see how it all plays out. But I do think it is a measuring stick game, getting back to what Adam Troutman's been saying.
Tell me if one of these 3 things is going to be the narrative following this game. Number 1, they lose big. Broncos aren't ready. They're not serious Super Bowl contenders. And while they might make the playoffs, they're probably going to get blown out. They can only beat teams with losing records. That would be narrative number 1. Narrative number 2. They win the game. Oh, my God, the Broncos are for real, and they're going to be a serious challenger for the Super Bowl because they won this game in Philadelphia. Narrative number 3, it's a very close game down to the end. Hey, look what they did against the defending Super Bowl champs. We got ourselves a moral victory. Got another narrative here? Because I think that's going to be one of the 3.
If there's a 4th one, it's they played in a close game against a good team and figured out another way to lose, right? Because
that might be the worst one.
That might be the worst one, because I think at the very least here, and I won't speak for the Broncos, obviously, They've got their own motivations. But just from the outside looking in, you want to see a football team, if they're beaten in a close game on the road, you want to see them playing well. You want to see, I mean, if the Eagles beat them because they made more plays and they were better down the stretch, then, you tip your hat or your helmet to the other guy, but you don't facilitate that for them. You make it difficult for them. You're in the game every bit of the way. You're fighting and scratching to the end, and you have a chance to win, and maybe the ball just doesn't bounce your way. But you don't facilitate them, as you did with the Chargers, as you did with the Colts. Two games that you and I think would agree, not only could they have won, they should have won. This may not be a game where they could have won and should have won, but that would be the other narrative. Close game, played well, but just didn't get the win because the Eagles played a little bit better. If you can get to that narrative, it's not a moral victory, but it's a good way to feel leaving Philadelphia for London.
Something just occurred to me about that Ravalanche picture that we just saw. Thanksgiving is next month. What do you think the conversation could be at the Walton Penner Kroenke Thanksgiving Day table?
That's a great question. I don't know.
I mean, Greg's a pretty mild-mannered guy.
Yeah.
Kerry seems the same way.
Uh-huh.
But I could see, Greg sitting at the table. He's got, everything sitting on his plate. He's got his, white meat and his dark meat. And the stuffing looks really good. Mashed potatoes, nice and creamy. He's got his green beans, nice and crisp. And,
right.
He looks at Stan and says, "Hey, Stan, can you pass the gravy boat?" And what the fuck were you thinking?
I think Greg would probably be a little more understated. He would come up with something maybe a little drier and probably not even, would probably not even look him in the eye, but just maybe a little something or other under his breath or something or other.
How about Greg looks at Stan and says, "Next time you go to Walmart, it's all fucking full price now. Bring it."
Yeah, you don't get the family rate anymore, Stan.
Friends and family discount is completely off the table, and that includes all of the discontinued bicycles that we are selling. No bikes for you.
I wish that he owned a hockey team in LA so that when they came to Denver, we could dress them in Broncos gear.
Right.
Right.
Speaking of the Broncos, do they win on Sunday?
No, I think this is going to fall into the Category 4 narrative that I tried to lay out.
Like a Category 4 hurricane?
Well, not a hurricane. I think that I think this will be a close game, and until the Broncos prove to me, at least, that they can make game-winning plays in close games against good teams and on the road, there's a lot that lines up against them here. A lot, and we've already talked about it most of the week. But until they can, and so it's a big ask. They're going to have to play extremely well, maybe as well. Better than they played at any time previously this season. They will have to play their absolute best game, and even then, maybe need something or other at the end. But I do think it's going to be a very close game, and the Broncos have got to prove that they can win close games, because you know what? That's all the Eagles do, is win close games.
They know how to win. We hear coming out of the Broncos locker room, we got to learn how to win. And again, it's a phrase that I've never understood coming out of an athlete's mouth. Probably every single guy in the Broncos locker room has won at a certain level. Everybody knows how to win. So maybe you can explain this to me as if I am truly an idiot, which we know that I am. What does it mean when a player says we need to learn how to win, when individually all of those guys have probably won at a certain level? And I'm guessing your answer is going to be, yeah, you may have won as individuals. We got to learn together. But still, it's not making mistakes. hurting yourself, having the feeling in your head, here we go again.
Yeah, which is actually, for me, probably falls more under the category of learning not to lose. I understand that that's semantics.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, there is a difference between learning how to win, which is, you know what that is? That's a player sweeping a media guy away saying, even if I explained it to you, you probably wouldn't get it, and I don't have the time to explain.
Well, then
it
I would like somebody to explain it to me where I can actually.
I think you just explained it to everyone out there. It's the little things of execution at the ends of games that are always magnified. A play that happens in the last 60 seconds that sways a game probably happened with 8 minutes to go in the second quarter, but no one notices it that much because it's 8 minutes to go in the second quarter. Everything's magnified at the end of a game, especially in one-score games. So those are the places where you absolutely have to be able to function clearly, efficiently, and effectively. And until you do that, you can't learn to win, or as I would say, learn how not to lose. I think that that's probably where the Broncos are even more so right now. And we're not talking about it in every game. We're talking about it against really good teams. And in this case, teams on the road. You're talking about a team that is perceived, I'm talking about the Broncos, as a playoff team and a team that can win games in the playoffs. It's a step at some point you have to take, not only to prove it to everyone else, but more importantly, to prove it to yourself.
Broncos win if, Broncos lose if. Let's ping pong. Where do you want to start? Broncos win if, Broncos lose if.
Broncos win if they can maintain a stat that I like maybe to typify them the best. And that is this. The Broncos are number one in the NFL in sacks and number one in the NFL in least number of sacks allowed. I like the extremes of those two stats. I will start with that one right there.
I'll start with this. If they win the turnover margin by 2 and they have 7 penalties for less than 50 yards, they win the game.
That would have
That's
been
it.
I'm with you.
The Broncos defense is just as good, if not better, than the Eagles defense, and their defense is good enough to slow down the Eagles offense that has struggled.
Right.
Now, if you're telling me the Eagles are fly Eagles fly on offense, which they're not, you have Jalen Hurts averaging 150 yards a game, right? Throwing the ball. As you mentioned about Saquon Barkley, who hasn't been the same. They have some infighting, with Brown and, so on and so forth. Wide receivers not getting enough action. Dallas Goedert hasn't really been used that much either. I think it all comes down to what has hurt the Broncos in their 2 losses, which is what will hurt the Broncos again and lose again, more than likely, not guaranteed, if the penalties are too much, too many, a long pass interference, something like that, or turning the ball over. The Eagles have only turned the ball over one time this year.
Yeah, they don't turn the ball over.
They don't force a lot of turnovers. They have 5. So
right.
they have basically 1 per game.
Yeah.
So with that, the Broncos win if that happens.
Okay.
The Broncos lose if what happens?
Well, the Broncos lose if they aren't effective on first and second down. They've already proven that. They almost won a game in spite of themselves on first and second down in Los Angeles against the Chargers, almost, but weren't able to do it. I guess you could spin that as a positive. I see it as a negative because you got to work so hard to overcome third and long. That is a key, I think, for them in this game. If you're constantly looking at third and long and aren't productive on first and second to get yourself in more manageable situations on third down, it makes it exponentially more difficult to win, especially in this place.
I find it interesting that in 2 games, including this one on Sunday, in the last 3 weeks, in theory, for the Broncos, it is, well, we kind of got stuck with this guy. What do I mean? Who did Greg Penner really want to be his head coach?
Jim Harbaugh.
Who did Sean Payton really want to be his defensive coordinator?
Vic Fangio. and the Mutual Admiration Society is great, isn't it? I mean, I love coaches that love coaches, because coaches love coaches, right? And they have so much respect for. And I think in this case, they probably do. These guys have been around the game, for forever, and they've seen it. And both of them are adaptive coaches. They've changed, I think, generally well with the times. And as such, they have very good understandings of what they're trying to do. Sean offensively, Vic defensively. It should be a fun matchup. And I always kind of liked Vic. I was okay with Vic. It didn't work out, but I liked his grumpy old man kind of thing going, maybe because I can relate to it. My buddy Jeff Legwald, it says, the grumpy guy from Oregon, he's calling me now. So I can relate a little bit to where Vic Fangio is, but he was a dry son of a gun. And I always appreciate that type of, he just kind of quietly saucy.
It takes a big man to admit publicly, standing on a podium, to admit that he enjoys watching the Hallmark Channel. For that reason alone, I like Vic Fangio. And oh, by the way, on a side note, I find it kind of interesting that Vic Fangio did not want to be Sean Payton's defensive coordinator because it was too close to him being the head coach.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the guy who came before Vic Fangio was like, I'll take the job.
Yeah, Vic was concerned about the optics of it, and
what about Vance?
Well,
listen, who drew more scorn as
VJ.
a head coach? Was it VJ or was it Vic?
I think VJ, and unfairly.
And so with that, you would think it would have been hard. You would think VJ would be the last person that wants the job.
You're probably right.
Nobody particularly liked in Broncos country Vic Fangio as a head coach, but they liked him a lot as a defensive coordinator. For VJ, he was universally seen as a guy who didn't know what he was doing. But to your point, John Elway cut out VJ's legs before he walked in the door. As a matter of fact, Elway cut off VJ's legs right when he walked out of his own car in the parking lot to walk up to the headquarters by saying, Mike McCoy, by the way, is going to be your new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and then the crap behind the scenes that Mike McCoy was certainly involved with.
You mean like gunning for his job?
Yeah, I mean,
and then you had,
how do you function, right?
And I don't mind saying this publicly, because if he wants to confront me about this, I'd say you're full of shit. And then you have Eric Studesville, running backs coach, stabbing VJ in the back any opportunity he could get by leaking shit to the media.
It was a bad dynamic that wasn't.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
It's not unfamiliar to me what you're talking about.
You are so politically correct.
I try to work on being politically correct. It's not always easy for me, but I try to get there. It was a very untenable situation, and one that I think really in retrospect, and even at the time, I thought that VJ was almost set up to fail. I really did. And that's why when we get him on Thursdays, now the one guy I can't miss is VJ. I love talking to him. I love being in the scrum talking to him. He's fun to talk about with concepts. I love it that he answers questions. He'll get into the weeds if you ask him to. But man, he's got a head coach written all over him. And you and I both talked about the possibility of him being a candidate in the offseason. He was not a strong candidate, but a candidate. I think that he will continue to be a candidate and can be an even stronger candidate depending on what the Broncos end up doing this year. But I, for one, really hope that he gets another chance to be a head coach. There are plenty of guys that don't deserve the second and the third chances in the NFL or Major League Baseball or wherever they are. VJ is one of the really good guys, hardworking, smart, good players coach, but demands accountability. All of these things, schematically, he's sound. I think that he would be a tremendous head coach given the opportunity the right way for a second time.
Coming up after the break, if Jamal Murray is right, plan the parade. That's next.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Spice up your next night out at Nola, Jane, and Lodo. Authentic Cajun cuisine like andouille sausage gumbo with dirty rice, crawfish etouffee, as well as 6 different po' boys like soft-shell crab and shrimp. Come in before or after a game at Ball Arena. Host a party or party on their rooftop deck overlooking Market Street during happy hour from 11 a.m. to 5. Plus, Nola Jane Caters, delivers, and the kitchen is open late night. Make Nola Jane your new favorite spot to eat, drink, and party like it's Mardi Gras.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a Ford Maverick Tremor truck or over $25,000 in cash the weekend of October 24th. Daily cash drawings are every 45 minutes between 10 a.m. and midnight. Players can earn daily entries with every locked-up jackpot or by redeeming players' points on their players' cards. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, loose slots, phenomenal promotions, great food, and a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. Don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corn bake. Man, you gotta try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Ferguson's Heating and Cooling is the best in Denver, and their customers agree. Ferguson's has 165 5-star Google reviews, and here's one from Betsy. Highly professional, prompt, and honest. I switched to Ferguson's when I became aware my former company was trying to sell me a whole new system I didn't need. Ferguson's is an honest, working, family-owned business that'll give you a fair price, the highest quality parts and equipment, and they always show up on time. You can trust the Ferguson family like you trust your own family. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, DTC, and now in Parker. All their locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook, great hangout bar, great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, DTC, and now in Parker. They are the sports bar. And welcome back. Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. Time now for what's... Oh, would you like to tell me?
Yeah, because our buddies, the Fergusons, had a big night last night. Terrence with a catch for 21 yards and a big play to help the Rams stay in the game against the 49ers, end up losing in overtime. But the first thing I thought about when I saw the big tight end out of Oregon go up and make the catch was Ferguson's Heating and Air. So there you go.
Well, I'll tell you something funny. I had a long conversation with Cody and Dawn, his parents, the other day when I went over to their place, and we were chatting for a while about, what's going on with Cody. And listen, any young players are going to be disappointed that he's not being used. So the fact that he got that 21-yard catch, I bet that was nice.
It
I'm
was
guessing
nice.
it was a big celebration. I tried to explain to them. I said, listen, he was a second-round pick for a reason because they like him.
Mm-hmm.
Sean McVay is a terrific offensive mind. He knows how to spot talent. And when you look at Higbee, he's in the final year of his deal.
Right.
They have another tight end on the roster who I believe is in the final year of his deal. So what I said to the Fergusons was, listen, if he excels on special teams, no matter what happens with him as a tight end, he will have a job.
No question. Well said and correct. Yeah, he just needs to be patient because his time will come. There is no doubt about it. He looked great on that. He was covered and went up and high pointed it, made a really nice play on the ball.
Time now for What's Trending.
What's Trending is presented by Ferguson's Heating and Cooling. Your family should trust the Ferguson family for all your heating and cooling needs, and you'll see why they have over 165 5-star Google reviews. Make an appointment today at fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
Murray believes the Nuggets could have one of the best benches in the league, and this team reminds him of the 2020 team, the team that was in the bubble, the team that went to the Western Conference Finals and lost to the Lakers. Because Jamal was asked, does this team remind him of the championship team? He picked the team in 2020 because of the bench. The second unit is Bruce Brown, Julian Strawther, Tim Hardaway Jr., Peyton Watson, Jonas Valanciunas. I think I may have said this to you earlier this week about the Nuggets. Take that starting five. They could compete with some starting lineups in the league. I also like the balance as well. But I'm also wondering, Bruce, because they have guys out there that can play, how much will we see Murray and Gordon playing with the second team when they should be getting some rest on the bench?
That's a very interesting question because you generally want to have some crossover firepower from your first unit playing with your second unit. I'll be interested to see how David Adelman does that and where his substitution patterns, how they develop. But let me ask you a question. As it relates to Jamal Murray, and I listened to the whole interview, but as it relates to Jamal Murray, do you think that he and David Adelman had and I don't want to go all come to Jesus conversation, but do you think that there was a hard conversation from David Adelman with Jamal Murray about where and what kind of player he needs to be for this basketball team to move forward and to realize the type of potential that they have? You and I talked, I think it was last week or the week before, about, who are the best players on the team. Obviously, Jokic, Gordon. Now, when we turn it around and say, okay, but who are the most important players on the team? Maybe Murray moves ahead of Gordon. Maybe he doesn't, depending on your argument. Jokic is obviously Exhibit A. But I wonder if that conversation took place. And if it did take place, what do you think Adelman's tact was? Do you think he was aggressive? How do you think he would have handled that type of conversation with a chiseled veteran who has won a championship, but has, I think, had a career that has been marked to some degree with inconsistency?
It's a great question, and I like to think I have a decent answer for you. You said, what kind of tact did he take? He didn't take a tact. He had tact, unlike Calvin Booth, who called out Jamal Murray publicly following a couple of seasons ago, talking about Jamal's conditioning publicly at a post-season press conference, meaning after the season was over. Adelman, I'm guessing, said something, but said it privately.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he said, but I'm sure he said something, but it was private, and he didn't embarrass one of his most important players publicly.
Yeah, and you can tell that by his remarks. I'm talking about David Adelman's remarks. What did he say? He had an unbelievable summer or something to that effect. I don't remember the exact wording that he used.
There haven't been a lot of compliments.
No.
From the front office people, from the coaching staff, whatever. There haven't been a lot of public positive comments about Jamal Murray over the last couple of years. What Adelman said, I'm sure, made Jamal Murray feel a little bit more loved.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And who's to say that that's not a valuable thing every now and then, right? I mean,
let's use Garrett Bowles as our example. If you are looking to turn Garrett Bowles into a great player, don't rip him publicly.
yeah,
He's the type of guy that needs a pat on the back,
yep,
not a kick in the ass. I'm not saying that Jamal Murray can't handle a kick in the ass. He trained under his father.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was
Yeah.
pretty grueling.
right.
He knows what it's like to be ridden, but sometimes a little bit of sugar goes a long way.
Well said. Well said. And I think that, and I really do believe that's where we are with Jamal Murray. He is so important to this basketball team right now in this year, because I agree with what he is saying. The depth that this team has right now, you can make an argument is as good. Well, it's certainly as good as any since the championship team.
There's no question.
It's
better than the championship.
We may end up arguing, right? We may end up arguing that their depth is better and more effective, because you know what? The fact that they have Valanciunas at this stage of Nikola Jokic's career is absolutely huge. When you don't, and you hope this is the case, when you don't have to send Jokic in like the cavalry coming over the hill to rescue the second unit, which, you just don't want him doing, or playing extra minutes to give them a chance in a game in the regular season. You want him to be able to get a little rest, play 4 or 5 fewer minutes, and feel like you're not dropping off a lot. Valanciunas in particular, and don't get me wrong, they're all important in their own way. But when you're talking about a reasonable substitution for the best player in the world, that's huge.
Do you feel good about Bruce Brown's ball handling skills enough that he can run the point for the second unit? He's not great, but is he good enough?
Yeah, I think he is.
I'm asking for a reason. Just give me a quick answer.
Okay. The only reason I would hesitate is because we all have a tendency to think about Bruce Brown the way he was.
Dude, it was just 2 years ago.
It
was 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, okay.
He's not 35.
No.
He's not an old player. He's not a grizzled veteran. He's not that old. Off the top of my head, if I had to guess, he could be 29.
I'd have to check.
Well, you know what? I'll check for you right now. This is
yes. I think my short answer to your question is yes, but I just want to be careful that Bruce Brown is the type of player that he was when he was in Denver.
He's 29. He just turned 29.
Plenty of tread on the tire.
So with that, should they place Jamal Murray on the second unit when most of the starters are on the bench? I wouldn't be opposed to it. My point is, it isn't necessary like it has been in recent years. Tim Hardaway Jr. will be more than happy to shoot for you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because what they were missing on that second unit was scoring. They have it with Tim Hardaway Jr. Bruce Brown would be more than happy to take a few more shots.
And so will Strother.
Well, I'm not going to count Strother. Strother is still an unknown. And that's why they had to bring in veterans. Peyton Watson, he's still an unknown. We know he can play defense. Julian Strother, we know that he can score, but he hasn't done it consistently. My point is, when you have Strother and Watson on the floor, you never know what you're going to get offensively from either of them. That's why Murray probably needed to spend more time on the floor. So with that, when you have Hardaway, Brown, and Valanciunas, who have all proven they can score, not totally necessary. You're bringing on Aaron Gordon on that second unit. Defensively, Gordon is terrific.
Yep.
But Peyton Watson is still pretty good.
Yes, he is, right.
So my point is, Watson is playing Gordon's position, and then you have, in theory, a combo of Bruce Brown and Hardaway doing what Murray does.
Yeah.
More rest if these guys do what we expect them to do.
Yep, which is should be win-win, right?
Yep.
Good for the Nuggets, their depth. That's what good depth does.
Yeah.
We're discussing things that are foreign to us because over the last 2 years they've had really virtually no quality depth. Now all of a sudden we think they've got tremendous quality depth.
They do.
They do. Yeah.
I mean, listen, if you're going to pick 3 guys to come off your bench like they did in the championship season, I don't know. Hardaway, Braun, Valanciunas. Bang. Now, let's see how much Strother develops. Let's see how much Watson develops. And, oh, by the way, those 2 young guys will still play. But now there isn't the pressure on them
you're
to
right.
have to make a huge difference.
Yep. Agreed. And that's important, too. How many games did the Nuggets finish behind Oklahoma City last year? 12 or 13 games? I mean, I'm just making up a number. It was something like that. I'm not sure how far behind the Thunder they are, but I would say that they should be in the Western race with the Thunder. I really do. I feel that way.
For Watson and Strother last year, I'm not going to use the word pressure. The expectations for them were unrealistic at this stage of their career.
Well said.
To come off the bench, play 20 minutes a game, and have an impact.
Yeah.
Now, how does David Adelman handle those 2 young guys? Does he still give them enough quality leverage minutes to help with their growth, make them better players down the road, while still having the luxury of knowing if they don't have it that night, they have 3 veterans who can get it done?
It's that's a great statement and a good call. I do think that David Adelman, only because he has said this on 2 or 3 occasions now, the importance of getting off to a good start, I don't think can be overstated. They want to get out of the gates well and play in rhythm early, and create an expectation of winning basketball games night in and night out. I think we saw the difference, and we talk about it, home court advantage. I think for the Nuggets, I think it's a real thing. It may not be for other teams. There are teams that can go on the road and they can compete well. And it's not like the Nuggets didn't compete well in Oklahoma City. They won one there, for God's sakes, in the playoffs. They can go do that. But I do think finishing high in the West needs to be a priority this year.
Sometimes when you gamble on sports, and Danny, our producer today, he's a degenerative gambler. He'll probably agree with me. Hey, Danny, why don't you pop on in? Because I want to ask you a quick question before we wrap this up. Okay. So as a guy who does gamble, if for the sake of argument, let's use Puka Nacua as our example. Okay. If you are getting basically even money on Puka Nacua catching 7 balls in a game.
You take the over. He's averaging 12, I think, right now.
No, what's that?
I'll take 7.
But when you gamble, you're also looking for value as well.
Yeah.
That's super important. You want some value because I think it's closer than what Vegas has out for odds right now. The odds for Oklahoma City to win the championship are 2.5 to 1.
Wow.
They are overwhelming favorites.
Yeah.
It's like plus 235.
Wow.
You want a value bet? The Nuggets are 8 to 1.
I got them at 850.
That is,
attaboy.
As I just said, thank you for backing it up. Our degenerative gambler, right? Right when I knew the odds were coming up, I was up till 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm Danny Bailey.
8.5. That's great. Good job, Danny.
You know what? I'm gonna bet it as well. I'm only getting 8. I'm only getting 8 to 1. Yeah. I think that's a fantastic value bet.
It is. It really is a good bet. I'd bet on the Nuggets at this point. Yeah, no question.
Well, you should. Why don't you? Why don't you give yourself a retirement gift?
Because it wouldn't be a gift for me. I mean, it's just I'm
If you win, it will be.
I know. If you win, that's always the question. If
Right.
you win.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I've
All right.
learned. I've learned my lesson.
That's going to do it for us. Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. Make it the best possible weekend you can. And thanks for joining us all week.